This mysterious figure known as the Maestro led a large match-fixing network in tennis, affecting matches globally. He paid players 500 to 3,000 euros to lose games on purpose, which, more often than not, was more than they would receive if they even won the game. Over 180 players were involved, with the Maestro using secretive messages to plan the fixes. Who exactly was he? And what were the consequences of his actions? You'll better sit tight and get ready for an adrenaline rush, because this is gonna be a wild one. And as always, if this video serves up some tennis joy, volley that like button and backhand a subscribe for more ace-worthy tennis content like this. In the early morning hours in Brussels, a man was busily working from his parents' apartment. He had 4 cell phones laid out in front of him, each one buzzing with calls and messages from different parts of the world. It was 3 a.m. in Brussels, but over in Thailand, it was time for the W25 Hua Hin tennis tournament to start. This man had been busy for years. He'd been talking to professional tennis players, convincing them to play their matches not to win, but to lose on purpose. He promised them more money for losing than they could ever make by winning. This was all to make a lot of money from betting on the matches. The man was born in Armenia in 1990 and moved to Brussels when he was 9. Growing up in a not-so-rich part of town, he found his passion in chess, even playing against a famous chess player, Anatoly Karpov, at 13. But at 16, he stopped playing chess because of personal reasons and started watching tennis. This change led him down a new path. He was good at making friends in different groups because he could speak more than one language. This helped him a lot in the tennis world, and so the games had begun. By 2014, he was deep into the tennis world, but not just as a fan. He saw that tennis players who weren't famous or making a lot of money could be tempted to make some quick cash. He thought, what would they be willing to do for a few $1,000s? With this thought, he began his journey into the world of match fixing. His first big move in this game was at a small tennis tournament in Arlon, Belgium. He didn't have much money, just $350, but he had a plan. He talked to a young player from Latin America, offering him money to lose a part of his match on purpose. The plan worked, and the man won nearly $4,000 from betting on the match. This success made him feel powerful, and he started planning to fix more matches. He asked the player he had just worked with if he knew others who might be interested, and the player said yes. But before going any further, it's quiz time. The Maestro's first big move was at a small tennis tournament located where? Was it A. Dijon, France, B. Ghent, Belgium, C. Graz, Austria, D. Arlon, Belgium? The correct answer will be revealed at the end of the video, so stay tuned. And hey, don't be shy, hit us up with your guesses in the comments. We'll reply to as many of them as we can. Now back to it. Over the years, the man became very good at this. He recruited over 180 players from around the world, making his operation one of the biggest match-fixing rings in tennis. He became so well known in this shady world that people gave him a nickname, the Maestro. He lived a fancy life, speaking multiple languages, giving out expensive gifts, and being well known in tennis circles. Despite his fame in this underground world, many people had no idea who he really was. But if you think that's where the story ends, then you're sorely mistaken. Karim Hossam, once a shining star in junior tennis and the top professional player in Africa, found himself in a tough spot financially. The cost of chasing the dream of professional tennis was sky high, and despite his immense talent, staying afloat outside the top 100 was a constant struggle. Karim's financial troubles were exacerbated by the fallout of the 2011 Arab Spring uprising in Egypt, which hit his family's business hard. By 2015, with his father diagnosed with cancer and medical bills piling up, Karim was desperate. The International Tennis Federation (ITF) tour, meant to be a stepping stone to the top, turned out to be a financial drain. Earnings from wins barely covered the costs, pushing Karim towards the murky waters of match fixing. The initial approach came through a man introduced as Gregory, connected to Karim by Yunus Rashidi, a Moroccan player with a history of match fixing. And this so-called Gregory was actually the shadowy figure behind the mask of the Maestro. Who was he? I think you've been waiting long enough, so let me reveal it. The man orchestrating this network, living a life of luxury while preying on the vulnerabilities of financially struggling tennis players, was none other than Grigor Sargsyan. Gregor, also known as the Maestro, offered Karim $2,500 to lose a set on purpose in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Despite feeling uneasy about compromising his integrity, Karim accepted. Grigor Sargsyan, paying promptly and seeing potential in Karim, suggested he recruit more players, promising bigger earnings for matches against weaker opponents. Seeing his peers on the tour also struggling financially, Kareem, with a heavy heart, brought his younger and more talented brother, Yusuf, into the fold. Yusuf, understanding their dire financial situation and the cost associated with training at the prestigious Mouratoglou Tennis Academy, reluctantly agreed to participate in match fixing. Between August 2016 and May 2018, the Hossam brothers, alongside Gregor Sargsyan, were involved in fixing over 20 tennis matches, according to Belgian authorities. Their collaboration began with a match in Sharm el-Sheikh on August 3, 2016, and continued until a match in Bacău, Romania, on May 30, 2018. A critical moment came during a match when Kareem, on the court, communicated with Sargsyan about fixing a game, signaling his brother at courtside. Yusuf, overwhelmed by their father's critical health condition, agreed to lose, reflecting his desperation with the dismissive. This marked a turning point in their careers, setting them on a path of no return. Quick side note here, I hope you haven't forgotten about our trivia question. Make sure to keep watching, the answer will be revealed at the end. And hint, the answer is not A, Dijon, France. Gregor Sargsyan, unfazed by the ethical dilemmas, continued to expand his network, flaunting his wealth to attract players. He bought a Rolex and a Jaguar to project an image of success, using it to persuade players to join his scheme. He was astute in identifying players in financial need, offering them gifts or money, often more than what was promised. His approach included covering personal expenses for players, such as buying a diamond engagement ring or a flight ticket, ensuring their loyalty. Sargsyan's network was vast, involving Andronik Martirosyan, who literally managed financial transactions from an Armenian prison. Despite being incarcerated, Martirosyan was instrumental in their operations, which moved at least 9 million euros. Can you imagine? In the Netherlands, Sargsyan connected with Sebastian Rivera, a coach with access to young Latin American talents, furthering Sargsyan's ambitions. Despite Rivera's legitimate coaching skills, suspicions about his intentions hinted at his involvement in match fixing. In 2017 and 2018, Rivera and Sargsyan orchestrated a match-fixing scheme involving 34 players, including 6 Americans. They communicated frequently, with Sargsyan expressing frustration when Rivera was unavailable. Among those ensnared in their scheme was Dagmara Baskova, a professional tennis player from Slovakia. After a knee injury, she could no longer play at her best. Rivera approached her with an offer to deliberately lose matches, leading her to earn $50,000 and dream of opening a tennis club in Thailand. As the operation grew, Sargsyan became increasingly paranoid about police surveillance, fearing wiretaps and being watched. His anxiety was palpable, especially when matches didn't proceed as planned, leading to aggressive outbursts and threats. During a tennis players' match in Egypt that didn't go as planned, Sargsyan sent many angry text messages. He wrote, "I'm doing this since 3 a.m. and I will break his legs." Later, it became clear that Sargsyan had a good reason to be worried. Someone had indeed been watching him. Things were about to take a wild turn. As we've seen so far, crime can pay, but the multitude of repercussions as well as the complete lack of peace make it an extremely unwise path to follow. To find out how exactly Gregor was hunted down and captured, watch our upcoming video titled The Hunt for the King of Tennis Scandal. It's part 2 of this story, and you'll never guess what happens at the end. So stay tuned. Now let's circle back to our trivia question. The Maestro's first big move was at a small tennis tournament located where? Well, here's the answer. Arlon, Belgium. Gregor, aka the Maestro's first big move in this game, was at a small tennis tournament in Arlon, Belgium. He didn't have much money, just $350, but he had a plan. Take a peek at our other videos. And that, my friends, is game, set, and match for this episode of Glam Slam Tennis. Thanks for watching.